rejected one today
So they're grandfathered in?
on the moratorium.
So they're grandfathered in?
Test
No,
one.
it didn't apply, it was already in progress, we met with them.
Pipeline.
Is Brad coming? Brad, he's gonna be busy, is he coming?
Teresa and I graduated to the glass main ones. Don't match everybody else's. I said the two of us graduated to the glass nameplates, the acrylic.
Yes.
Good. So you didn't have to come home from the lake after all?
Wouldn't happen, I didn't know. It was too big of a deal not to.
I'll have to do that one night. I'll set it across my little student desk, you know.
What's better, Brad?
So
How are you?
The next round of planning board, this is that one we were talking about, this is
All right.
they're trying at least two, so if you want,
This
hold
one,
off and wait
Abercorn
to see how
Landing?
that plays out.
This is the one on
Yeah,
Abercorn?
so it's purely Old Augusta access.
Yeah, good.
What are they asking for?
This is a rezoning of
No, what did they ask for up here?
50
50?
on either side, that would be 24 because of that anyway.
Oh.
So you all,
Oh,
honestly,
oh,
we'll check
oh,
with her
Test one.
Wow. But it would only, let's see, it would only be here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be
they're
the
trying to
rest of the
get these
property.
two, so-
Test one. Test.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's in their interest too.
So the buffer is 25 on the residential side?
No, industrial to industrial.
Yeah.
Here, it's 300 and that's.
I mean, I
would be facing
So they changed
How
that
far
coming
is it
in-
from the road?
Is that coming in Old Augusta?
50 from the road?
this,
No,
25, because it's industrial across the road.
But I thought we were, I thought the county commissioners was gonna, 50 on everything from a road for
Well,
future
we haven't had that
I
workshop
think it
yet,
should be,
so
huh?
that may be one plan.
Oh, that is
Put
Davenport,
one
man.
there,
Yeah,
but
it
this
is.
the
This is
current
Billy.
use.
It would
Billy's
make
right.
a lot of sense, you wouldn't have to
Billy's
buy
right
a
there
lot of
somewhere. Billy's right there, I think.
In the future when you expanded the roads.
Yeah, so they're not coming in Abercorn.
No.
When we have that workshop in July, I hope
That
you're
works,
there.
I mean, I hate it,
I'll do my
but,
best.
but all these people right here, they better not miss the boat.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's their home, but
I mean, we got this at like 5 o'clock, so it'll be on the next agenda, assuming. it's
especially
all
these right here.
Do you have that on our agenda?
I think these people,
The-
he said they don't
These
even care
people-
about this.
These people
Yeah,
might
as
be
long as
okay,
there's no
but
access there.
What happened with that backwater project on?
They asked to be postponed to the next commissioners meeting, which is July 19th. So we had a lot of people here last Tuesday, but
Oh,
we just tabled it.
that thing goes all the way to the, is that the landing? No, that's not the landing. The landing's right
Yeah.
here. That's the
It
landing.
was there, yeah.
That's the landing. Yeah, you're right, yeah. That's the
City's
water,
water plant.
water
Yeah.
plant.
So anyway, if y'all can like hold off and just see how this plays out, it might be. Or whatever you want, but I don't know if you'd need a variance, some more cases administrative. But we'll check with them.
But if we wanted to do the entire,
Yeah, the entire then, yeah.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
It is 5:55. This here is 5 o'clock. But they're gonna cancel the pre-meeting.
yeah, years ago,
They didn't want to give him an extra $100.
years ago, we got shut down on pre-meetings. So you can show up early. You can ask any questions you have. Get them answered.
Test one. Test. Test.
I went over to the junction before and just walked around. It's a junction.
You could've gone Brady's open till 6 now.
That's right.
I wasn't there. I left at 4 so I could go take a shower, and then I seen the email. I was like, oh well, got a little time to settle
I
in.
didn't It's hot.
It's hot.
I look at YouTube and changing the injectors on that 4-4. It's fabulous. I don't
I
think
imagine
you can do it.
anything you do on that car is a thing.
I don't think I can do it.
Yeah. What you need to,
I need you to work on that Corvette.
I put injectors in it. Well, maybe that'll fix it.
New fuel filter, and get a little crank and run. Just skip it.
oh, that distributor.
What year is it?
94. He was putting in clothes in there. He said, "Oh, man, I said, "Man, he doesn't put clothes in there."
So, give me that C1 Corvette he has, and now I'm getting my Corvette.
You're not
fixed.
getting.
I'd love to have an old 60 or 58 or 60.
That's his dad's got a 62.
62.
Hot rod. Hot rod. I need to get it and work on it.
What was it, the 68 or whatever?
I thought you said commissioners meeting. I called you to see what went on.
They did the square backs in
Yeah.
the 70s and 80s too. But they were the
Well, I thought you-
I've got one with slanted
Yeah.
glass on the back.
Yeah, you said it wasn't long meeting. Thank you.
They made them.
I think that was a very good compliment. That's a lot of learning.
It's too much. I mean,
It is too much.
it's.
Somewhere with the
That maybe can deal with that 911 engine?
Yeah,
It's, I mean, it's a builder to get in there.
yeah, that engineering degree paid off.
I wouldn't recommend
Vegetation on it.
using
You could never see it open.
I mean, it's doable, but it's
15 foot
just,
built
you gotta
on
be
the
a
property
compulsionist.
line.
if I,
You know,
if I was able to do it, I
close as you
wouldn't
could get to them.
have a problem doing it, but I just don't think I could get the time.
I mean, the secret to a berm is the closer you are, the better,
First two
No.
episodes down.
Not that they can't, I
the more
just
effective it is.
wouldn't feel
I mean, ours down there is 250 foot in. I mean,
It's
it's
your
lost.
Yeah, if
5
it
and a
was out
quarter
by the
hours.
road, it would be
You know what I mean?
more effective.
It's lost
5 and a
250
quarter
foot.
hours to do
A 12-foot berm,
Like I wish they just get to the end of this.
you know.
I tried it, you know.
It
the
should have
problem
been the
is,
opposite
you try to
side. It should have
tackle
been
it,
cleared
and
on the ditch bank.
you can't do it.
12 foot would be,
Then you
I
gotta
think
turn
I
the
told
thing
you after the
away,
meeting was
yeah.
over, there was probably 30, 40 people spending like 12.
upgrading
told me
injectors, or
they
you just had
appreciate
problems with
this.
I'm giving them, I'm doing to get away from
You know, 'cause
ethanol
it could have been
and
ugly.
go
It
to
wouldn't- it could have went
marine,
the other route,
and
not
the
even come here.
recommendation is because of the horizontal cylinder, the ethanol's eating up the injector seal, and when you shut off, it's
That was
dripping
applicable.
down into the cylinder, which is wiping away the oil, so on cold start, you could score.
I shouldn't have said that. Yes, it was.
No?
That's the right
That's a
thing to do.
freaking $22,000
I mean,
rebuild.
it was what he should have done. You know, really, truly, but.
It's got 100,000 miles, it's, you know,
But what blows my mind is that one guy.
it's just,
You can put a fuel pressure gauge on it, start it up, and let it sit overnight, see if it leaks down. If it don't leak down, I won't worry about it.
You need to go
changing it.
tell him that, you need to go tell him. He just.
Hutchins?
Yeah, he just.
Yes, he is.
I'm just trying to be extra careful.
He almost got home into a
$40,000 anchor.
Yeah, no shit.
after the meeting, so I wouldn't tell him during the meeting, because I didn't think, I didn't want to.
Sure.
1 minute, Dave.
You gonna behave tonight?
I'm trying.
Or you don't look at anybody. Don't make eye contact.
Kate,
Yes,
You been looking around while I've been gone?
absolutely.
sure?
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it for the meeting.
Very few people will ever go.
I got you.
That's the truth. Probably nobody.
I stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night, so I've got this.
I got my belly, but
You
I
know,
don't have my
the
gun.
good part was nobody knew he was talking to you. Everybody thought he was talking to me. I've had several people say, "Why did that guy call you?"
Hi, Dave.
I was like, "I didn't know he did." I thought he called Ryan one. No, he was talking to you. You say it, prayer, bud.
If you want.
Your children's just.
You ready? Good?
I'm good.
How many? Everybody good?
Chelsea's gonna run back with some water for you guys. We have water this month. So just if you give her a minute, she'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Remember him?
You were on vacation.
You're just used to working out in that heat. Sorry.
If you're on vacation, you can have a beer. If you're on vacation, you ought to be able to have a beer.
Thank you, ma'am.
Did it get sparkling?
Call this meeting to order. Effingham County Planning Board meeting of June 13th, 2022. I'd like to welcome everyone. We're going to begin this meeting with a word of prayer. We're going to follow the prayer with the Pledge of Allegiance. We'd like to ask that everyone would stand for both. I'll ask Mr. Alan Zipper if he would open us.
Gracious Heavenly Father, be with us tonight as we hold the planning board meeting for Effingham County. Help us to make the right decisions for the citizens and for the county, in the best interests of the people of the county. Watch over our servicemen and women and all our first responders that keep us safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good. Thank you, Mr. Zipper. Ms. Teresa, is there any changes need to be made to this agenda?
Yes, we are postponing item number 6 at the request of the applicant. It will likely be heard in September or later.
So that is just postponed. Postponed item number 6. Any additional changes?
That's it.
So that change is Three Birds Development LLC, it's a sketch plan. That item has requested to be postponed. Call for a motion to approve this agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Zipper, all's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Minutes from May the 16th, are there any corrections or additions to these minutes? If I hear none, I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
A second.
Second, Mr. Thompson, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. So all items presented tonight will be presented again at our Board of Commissioners meeting. That meeting is also a public hearing. Items that are approved as well as denied will move forward to the commissioners. We'd like to ask that when the item, if your concern is called, that you would come forward to the podium. We would like to ask that you would sign your name in print and also state your name for the record. Anything further? Item number 1 is public hearing for William Wilson, request to rezone 1 of 24.24 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site located at 342 Otis Seconder Road. This is the 2nd District. Ms. Teresa, is there anything you can tell us about this?
Yes, this parcel is zoned AR1, and the applicant wishes to subdivide a 1-acre parcel for a family member, and that 1 acre would need to be rezoned to AR2. You actually did this about a year ago for that square that's shown in the graphic above, but that's not developable as it turns out, so they're trying again with this new 1-acre parcel.
Yes, sir.
Is that-
My name's William Wilson. Yes, sir. My dad gave us a piece of property, me and my wife, and once we started developing on it, we found out it was wetlands, so we had to change directions. Yeah, it was a whole lot of time wasted.
So basically, you're just shifting.
Yes, sir. My grandmother's house used to be there, and she passed away about 8 years ago, and so there's a septic tank and a light pole there. So we should have chose there first.
Gotcha. Questions or comments from the board? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
A motion for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Higgins. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, sir.
Item 2 is a public hearing for Mamie H. Johnson, request to rezone 2.53 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site located at 540 Brogdon Rd, 3rd District. Ms. Teresa?
Yes, this parcel is an odd one. It's split partially in the city of Guyton and partially in unincorporated Effingham County. The portion that's highlighted on the screen is the part that's in Effingham County. The applicant wishes to split it to, or subdivide it to create a home site, and once we resolve the acreage and how much is in which jurisdiction, we'll be able to review and hopefully approve a plat. But in the meantime, she is asking to rezone it to AR2, so she has the option to subdivide it.
And will Guyton's rules, I mean, they'll all work with,
That is the question for the applicant. So as you see up there, the part that's outlined in that aqua color, that is in Effingham County. The part here and across the road is actually in the city of Guyton. So she has a few options. One would be to get it annexed, get it de-annexed, so there would be one complete parcel, and then be under the rules of one jurisdiction. But in the meantime, this is about 2 acres, we think, and it appears there is a couple of draft surveys that we've seen, and we're kind of honing in on the exact acreage of the portion that's in Effingham County. The difficulty is the surveyor has, or last time we spoke to him, had not located the actual jurisdictional boundary and couldn't get a correct line on the survey. So it's at this point, the fact that she's pursuing rezoning is fine because the acreage, it's definitely less than 5 acres, so it would be actually appropriate to downzone it. And it's kind of, as to whether she can subdivide it, it really depends on the surveyor being able to get a definitive boundary of the portion that's in Effingham County. She does have the option, of course, of taking it to Guyton to see if they would annex.
all right, thank you, ma'am. Is there a representative for Ms. Johnson here tonight? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request?
Good evening. My name is Tammy Dollar. I own the 30 acres right across the street from her. I just wanted to verify exactly what she's doing with the property. Is she doing 1 home site, 2 home sites? Because she can put 2 home sites on the 2 acres she's requesting. I just wanted to verify exactly what she's doing.
We're not exactly sure. As far as we know, she's separating it to create a home site. Now, she certainly can do that right now. If she wanted a home in the Effingham County, the unincorporated portion, she could do that. And because it's AR1, she actually might be able to get a second home in there. That zoning district does permit that. So depending on the quality of the soil and whether the health department would go along with that, and if there's 2 buildable acres, it's actually potentially possible for 2 homes to be there. But she did request a rezoning, and that's certainly something that would make the map more correct here, so we're supporting it. But we can't guarantee that we could sign a subdivision plat because
I mean,
we
she's
don't
not going
know.
to put a daycare center or
I mean,
assisted living facility?
Her
or-
application said to build my home on.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm in the same boat she is. Part of my land is in Guyton, and part of my land is in Effingham County.
So AR2, I mean, it only allows for homes.
1 home per
residential.
acre,
Yeah, but I mean,
4,560
But it
feet.
doesn't allow for a daycare or any commercial business.
Yes.
There are some conditional uses. We haven't heard any of these other proposals, so that's news to us. But there are conditional uses. I don't offhand, I don't have them in front of me. We can check that out and talk to the applicant. But it's, I mean, that is theoretically possible that it could be something other than a home, because AR1 and 2 allow other uses as a conditional use.
Mr. Chairman, a conditional use would require a second application in the hearing by the board, so
That's what I was
Right.
thinking,
public
yeah.
would be notified if there was a conditional use
Right.
request.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wish to speak? I'll call for a motion.
I make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 3 is a public hearing for Leo M. Sullivan, request to rezone 3 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the division of a parcel located at 486 Whitaker Road, 3rd District. Ms. Concanon?
This is a subdivision, it's Whitaker Rd subdivision, and actually these were individual parcels, and several years ago, the applicant combined them, and now he wishes to re-subdivide them. So, because it actually should have been rezoned probably when they were combined several years ago, but in order for us to review and approve a subdivision plat at this time, we really need to bring them into compliance with the zoning district requirements for acreage size. So Mr. Sullivan is requesting to rezone these so that he can subdivide them. And because this was, when it was created, a major subdivision, the plat would actually go to the Board of Commissioners during the, if they were to approve the rezoning, then the chairman would sign the plat after that, because it's a major subdivision. But staff are recommending approval.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Leo Sullivan, and we're downsizing on the property, so we're just splitting it up and selling the other half to my neighbor over here.
Okay, sir. All right, sir, thank you. Questions, comments at this time? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? All right, I'll call for a motion. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
No second.
Second, Mr. Thompson, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, sir. And forward is the public hearing for Rodney A. Durance and Gloria M. Durance, requesting to rezone 5 acres from AR1 to AR2 to allow for a 4-lot subdivision located at 290 Shirley Drive. This is the 4th district. Ms. Teresa?
The Durances, I believe, are out of the country, and they don't appear to be on Zoom, but I can do the presentation. So this is a parcel on Shirley Drive. It is a 5-acre parcel. There are currently 2 mobile homes on it. The Durances wish to split off. They wish to add a 3rd home for another family member, and therefore must subdivide it into, they must finally subdivide it into smaller parcels because AR1 only permits up to 2 homes for family members. So the proposal is this plat right here. The parcel on the left, parcel 3A1, that would be for the new subdivision for the new family member, and then at the front, the mobile homes would stay where they currently are located, and they would be subdivided as you see on the map, or on the survey. And because they're reducing the size of the 5-acre parcel to 3 smaller parcels, that must be rezoned to AR2.
So they're basically just rezoning it to build one more house.
Mm-hmm.
They're adding a house.
Yeah, in the back.
3A1.
So the overhead doesn't look like, no, not that one. The shaded in one that's in our book, I mean, it's got like 1, 2, 3, 4 lots drawn on it.
That was an earlier proposal. We've met with the Durances and spoken with them several times, and let's see, what's in the book? Oh, yeah, so the original plan was to split it into 4. We talked to them, and they've decided to go 3 because that is considered a minor subdivision. It's just a staff review. It's a relatively simple process. The major if they went with 4 parcels, it becomes a major subdivision. We pay a lot more attention to it. We start asking about drainage plans. And so Mr. Durance decided at this time 3 is really all he needs for his family, so that's what he's going to apply for.
Any further questions or comments?
Just to clarify on my end, so for the future, is there a time period that you have to avoid subdividing that remaining larger piece that would still be able to technically be subdivided underneath this new zoning?
It is, let me see, hold on, 1, 2, 3. It would be possible in the future to...
You're referring to the 3 acres?
Right.
The 3 acres. It's possible that they may come back in a year or more to ask staff to subdivide, to sign a minor subdivision plat. County ordinances limit our ability to sign a plat to 2 new parcels in a 12-month period. So if he decided after a year has passed that he really did want that extra parcel, he could come to us as staff, and we could review and sign that. That would give one, two, that would still only be 3 parcels on the easement, so again, theoretically, we probably could approve that.
Just so there's a limitation because of the easement. Okay.
Yeah, the easement limits the number of new parcels, or number of parcels to 3. Again, that's, that's all staff can work with. It would have to go for variance if it was any more than that.
I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to understand what the future might hold.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? I mean, I'm in support of this, but we've seen several of these, and I do have some concern because Courthouse Road out that way, I mean, these Shirley Drive, I mean, these things were cut up for homeowners, they were large lot home sites. And now mini farms, yeah. I mean, I don't want to prevent people from buying a mini farm and then wanting to cut off some for their family members, but I am very concerned about investors coming in and re-subdividing and chopping it up. I mean, these roads weren't designed or built for this purpose, so, and we've started to see this get a lot more common because there is some larger acreage out there. The road's already there. I mean, all they got to do is basically just come in and cut off the existing home and start busting them up. And I don't think that was ever the intention, and so I do have some concern for the future. I don't know what we say, whether there is a limitation for how many times each parcel can be re-subdivided or not. I mean, I understand every piece of land in Effingham County has been subdivided, so where do you say it can't be just subdivided anymore? I mean, it just maybe is something for staff and or the commissioners to consider. It's my only thought. Anybody else?
Good point.
All right, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff.
Motion for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 5. Item 5 is public hearing for Winston Hensley, is agent for Vicky Hensley Fountain and Michael Fountain. Request to rezone 12.66 acres from AR1 at AR2 to AR1 and AR2 to allow for a recombination of parcels located at 3033 Ebenezer Road and 550 Exley Road South, 4th District. Testing my reading ability here. Ms. Teresa?
All right, this one is not as confusing as it may sound. So the applicants currently have 2 parcels, and at the end of this, they want to have 2 parcels. They'll just look completely different. Currently, both parcels are over 5 acres and could have been AR1. One of them is AR2, one's AR1. And so the rezoning is from AR1 and AR2 to AR1 and AR2 because at the end of it, there'll be one very large parcel, which is outlined in red here on the screen, and there'll be one one parcel that's about 1.62 acres, and therefore that must be AR2 because it's below 5 acres. So again, starting with 2, ending with 2.
And it's for him to put a home on.
Right.
Yeah, so I say my name, Winston Hensley, and I'm just trying to get closer to family. I moved away, now I'm coming back. So for medical reasons, I'm trying to be closer to family.
All right.
And we got to rezone it in order for me to do something with it.
Perfect. Questions, comments from the board?
So the remaining piece in red will stay will be AR1.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Not further subdivided.
no subdivision, no nothing, just him a house.
We like it that way.
I really didn't understand why we had to go through all this, but, and he's wanting to change his address to Exley Road instead of
Ebenezer.
3033.
Because that's like a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the addresses is 550 Exley Road. The other one for the other piece of property was 3033 Ebenezer Road.
Yeah.
And they're together. We bought them, they butt together right there. And so he's gonna be in that back corner back there.
Yeah, just put a mailbox on the other side of the road.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Michael? I probably should have went to you first and found out.
Maybe she should come to
Ma'am, could I ask you to come to the podium, please?
I'm sorry, we're neighbors.
My name's Betty Widener. I'm the property owner next to them. And my husband and I have been out there 25 years, and we own almost 5 acres of land. What my concern was, when I got this letter, I was thinking that because our property is adjoined, that you were gonna turn it into a subdivision.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well,
We don't want none of that.
I'm, all right, that's what I was going to say, because my husband is disabled, and we bought this place just to have nice, quiet place, and our neighbors are nice and quiet, and we love it.
And we're keeping it that way.
Okay, great.
And actually, Ms. Widener.
Yes.
Where your property is, there will be no change whatsoever.
Okay, well, that's what I was concerned about, if they would be putting mobile homes or houses next to our property. Because when we bought the property in '94, we tried to divide an acre to give to our son, and we were denied. They told us we couldn't even divide the property on even 5 acres of land, so.
Things have really changed.
Anyhow, okay. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
So there is an existing easement to that parcel? There is an existing easement to that parcel?
I'm sorry.
There's an existing easement to this parcel.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and there's also a road through the other bigger piece, so. It's
Yeah, it
got
runs
multiple
right down-
ways. Yeah, there's an easement on the left side of that.
It goes back to Mr. Exley's place.
Yeah, I
There's
put
an
that in
easement
years
for Charles
ago.
Exley in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I sold a big piece of that swamp in there, I had an easement put in. right
You can
there
see where, if you get to the end of Exley and you take a left,
Yeah, I
You
see
see
it right
that
there, and
easement?
then it goes to the corner of that
60-foot
lot.
Yep.
easement.
That's
Yeah.
where, I would just wanted
It's
clarity.
already there.
yes, there's an easement there already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve with staff.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Second. All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Item 7, and 7 is the rezone, and 8 is the sketch plan. We'll be discussing both of these. Brayley Investments is agent for Lamar Allen, request to rezone 15.32 of 96.42 acre from AR1 to R6 to allow for a single-family residential development located on Courthouse Rd. It's the 4th district. Good evening.
So this parcel is currently AR1. The request is to rezone it to R6. The main criteria for rezoning to R6 is that public water and sewer are available nearby. City of Springfield has already committed to provide water and sewer service, so that condition has been met. We met with the applicant before the rezoning and sketch plan were submitted, and in fact, there has been at least one revision to the sketch plan since then due to our meeting. So this is, the sketch plan's visible on the screen up there. It's got stub outs to adjacent parcels, so in the future, if adjacent land was to develop, there is potential for connectivity, interconnectivity. It meets our 6 requirements as far as acreage devoted to common open space and mail kiosk and additional parking. Staff are recommending approval.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. My name is Travis Bazemore with EMC Engineering. On here on behalf of the petitioner. Mr. Easter pretty much covered it as far as the rezoning. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to try to answer them.
How are we defining the acreage? Like, just, if I know, like, there's a preliminary plat been submitted or something that's defining the 15.3 acres of the overall, that's, because we're not rezoning the entire parcel, right?
No. So this
Correct.
is the parent tract here, and, sorry. This is just it's in this corner where the star is. It's just up here. It doesn't even go all the way to the back, right?
Yeah, it does. So there's 2 pieces. One front's, it's kind of split down the middle. One front's McCall, and then one front's Courthouse.
Yeah.
Mr. Lamar Allen owns the one on Courthouse, and his brother owned the other one. They split up all their land. But this one kind of fronts down Courthouse, and we're just cutting out a 15.32 out of his 96.42 acres. Right up next to, some development that's ongoing right now that I believe is R6 zoning.
Yeah, this is
also.
R6 where the cursor's
This
moving.
adjoins that.
Yeah, you all approved it as Jenny Station. It'll be renamed to McCall Place. But
And then the frontage lots along Courthouse, it abuts one of them. And then the other, what'd you call it, Jenny Station?
It was Jenny Station. We believe
Jenny
it's going to be
Station.
renamed to McCall Place.
All right. Questions, comments from the board?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Basemore. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve with staff.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Zipper. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 8 is a sketch plan. Brayley Investments, agent for Lamar Allen, requests approval of a sketch plan for Hallswood subdivision located on Courthouse Road, zone AR1, zoning R6, 4th District. Anything further, Ms. Concanon?
This will be a 30-unit subdivision. Let's see, there's a single entrance from Courthouse, but as I mentioned, there are stub-outs to adjacent parcel, to the surrounding land. The parcel is 15.32 acres. 1.4 acres is wetlands. It includes, the whole development plan includes slightly more than 15% of the acreage devoted to common open space, and you can see that in the green, the darker green. The minimum lot size is 8,500 square feet, side setback 7.5 feet. There will be a maximum of 1.96 dwellings per gross acre, 2.2 per net acreage, so it's well below the 4.5 R6 zoning acreage or density maximum.
Is there a drive or anything that you're aligning with? Is that what, on the southern half there?
No, there's no
There's nothing
driveway
to align with,
currently,
okay.
nothing, yeah.
Future.
You talking about on Courthouse?
Yeah, future right away. Future right away.
Is that what you're talking about, Ryan?
No, I was asking, I was just making sure
Oh, I
we were-
got you.
if there was something that it was aligning with it. If there's not, there's nothing to align with. I just wanted to make sure that there
Yeah,
was
it's just
something.
wooded on the other side right now. There isn't no,
30 lots,
Anything
you have to
there?
make any improvements to courthouse?
say that again, I didn't hear the whole
So it's
question.
30 lots, you have to make any improvements to courthouse? Or none required? Anything further?
That's nice. Surrounded by vegetation buffer.
All right, I call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
Motion for approval and a second. Mr. Thompson, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. So items 9, 10, and 11 are Ms. Linda Sims, agent for Eric Edwards. I mean, we'll try to incorporate this as much as we can. Obviously, be separate motions, 2 rezonings and a sketch plan. Item 9 is a public hearing for Linda Sims as agent for Eric Edwards to rezone 7.01 acres from I-1 to B3 to allow for commercial development located at 1204 Mill Pond Road, the 5th District. Ms. Teresa.
Okay, so about 2 months ago, you saw this as a buffer, a variance for a buffer, and when it made it to the Board of Commissioners, after some discussion, the applicant withdrew the variance application and the sketch plan and has resubmitted a request to rezone it, to downzone to B3, to have a conditional use to allow all of his proposed uses as permitted uses, and a sketch plan. And this does away with the variance requirement. The buffer variance was a bit difficult. Being industrial zoning next to agricultural, the buffer requirement was 300 feet. So in order to get to make the development plan work, a buffer variance was required, but that just wasn't being received all that well. So the obvious solution was to downzone. But the reason it wasn't originally zoned to B3 was because one of the proposed uses simply didn't fit into B3, according to our list of permitted and conditional uses. So at the commissioners' meeting, it was decided that they could probably support a conditional use to allow that painting of aviation parts in favor, because that would solve the buffer problem, and it was actually giving the county a better looking zoning map in the sense that we're stepping down more gradually from industrial to agricultural residential by way of B3, and it gave the applicant a clean application, so his sketch plan doesn't require any variances. The conditional use is just to ensure that he has his uses, all of his proposed uses are permitted going forward. So staff are recommending approval.
So I remember this one, and I think I denied it. But that little strip down the side, that was AR1 or something.
R1.
R1.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's gonna be,
No, this rezoning applies only to the 7-acre site that we talked about 2 months ago. So it was rezoned to industrial in 2019, 2020. But now, once the development plan was submitted, it became apparent that either a great reduction of the buffers would be required, or we would have to rethink it and accommodate a downzoning to B3. And it is a better solution in that it's a better step down from, industrial on the other side of Mill Pond Road to the adjacent residential uses. But also it involves much smaller buffer requirements. It's still surrounded by R1 zoned land. You can see there, so it's currently industrial, that red with the yellow star, and behind it, these are R1 lots, and then next to it is AR1 lots. So this is, this particular land here is quite low density. There's very little development in this particular part of Ebenezer Road. So going to B3 is a better compromise. It's a less intensive uses overall, coming into this more residential area.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
Questions, comments from the board? Ms. Sims? Ms. Sims?
Yes, sir.
Could I get you to state your name, please?
I'm Linda Sims. I'm with Coleman Company.
All right. Do you have anything to add to Ms. Concan's presentation?
No, I believe she covered everything that her and I have been discussing for the last month.
And so that's the septic tank that's set out, drain field?
Yeah, this is in the Springfield service delivery area, but Springfield has declined service, and because there is an existing septic and well, I believe, also on site, and so they've agreed that would be, that the applicant can use those.
Gotcha.
That's correct, and there's a soils map in your packet as well.
Anything further from the board at this time?
The B3, is there other, obviously there's more property here to be used, the other zoning, the other uses that will be allowed? I know we got a conditional use that we're about to hear. No concern with it from that standpoint, that there's other uses that might.
Well, it is currently industrial, and industrial uses are almost really impossible given the buffer requirements. B3, yes, it does give a much more favorable buffer requirement, but any change in uses, if Mr. Edwards decided to just completely abandon this plan and sell it as B3, any new owner would still have to come back before us with a sketch plan for any change.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak, either in favor or against this request? Call for a motion.
Motion to approve its staff recommendation.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Zipper, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 10 is a public hearing for Linda Sims as agent for Eric Edwards. Requests a conditional use to allow for the repair and painting of aviation parts in B3 zoning. Located at 1204 Mill Pond Road, zoned I-1, proposed zoning B3, 5th District. Ms. Teresa, do you have anything you wish to add to that?
No, the reason, the need for the conditional use is that one of these proposed activities will be to, for painting of aviation parts, and that is, our ordinance doesn't include it as specifically as a permitted use, and so we're gonna go with it in a conditional uses, because there's a similar use in the conditional uses, automotive paint and body shops. And it was agreed, even at the commissioners meeting when we were all in the room, it was discussed whether we should have maybe gone that route the first time it was zoned a few years ago, but
I agree.
that's not what happened. And the I-1 zoning was pursued really because it's more accommodating, but then when you actually start to try to fit a site plan into it with buffers, and our 300-foot buffer requirements are just very difficult on a 7-acre parcel. So the conditional use is to ensure that all of Mr. Edwards' proposed uses can be accommodated, and there will be no question going forward that they're permitted.
All right, thank you.
I have two questions. Shoot 'em. So, what are you repairing on an aviation part?
He's gonna have to answer that.
And my second question is, since you have a paint shop, what are you doing with all the solvents that are not being used? Are they being?
Hi, I'm Eric Edwards. I'm the owner of the parcel we're talking about. I have a 145 repair station, which is an approved repair station for me to do repairs. I'm presently working. I do work for Gulfstream as well. I work out of Doug Edwards' place that he has on Ebenezer. I have bought this to put my own place up, but I have to have the means to be able to paint the items as well: wheels, brakes, landing gear. Those items are brought in, we do the repairs on them, we box them up, and we ship them out. As for solvents in them, we have a complete program that's mandated by DOT as well as the FAA. We have a certain requirement we must follow as items come in there, they're logged, they're disposed of properly, nothing stays on the
That's what I wanted
premises.
to hear.
Yes, sir.
Both your questions?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Call for a motion.
Motion for approval with staff recommendation.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Zipper, seconds. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 11 is a sketch plan. Linda Sims is agent for Eric Edwards. Request approval of a sketch plan for Action Overhead Door Warehouses located at 1204 Mill Pond Road, Zone I-1. Proposed zoning B3. This is the 5th district. Anything to add to that, Ms. Teresa?
The proposed development will include 2 buildings that are shown there in yellow. There are 3,200 square foot and 6,000 square foot, and then there is a sort of a hatched or a shaded in area where a future 3,200 square foot building may be built. 30-foot vegetative buffers included between AR and B districts, or the residential and the commercial districts, and a 50-foot buffer is actually included along the side, along the road. So at this time, it's meeting all the ordinance requirements. We're recommending approval.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments at this time? Do you have anything you wish to add, Ms. Sims?
No, sir.
The access where it is, I know it sounds like y'all talked about that a bit, but just trying to line up, I guess, as close as we can with that one that's across the
Yes, sir,
way.
we have, there's a buffer there, but we have aligned it as best as possible without going onto the adjacent parcel.
So I noticed that, is that why the entrance is in the buffer? To try
Yes,
to
sir,
align
that's the
it?
only way I could make it align. The other opportunity would be with the fire station that's across the street. That would be the only other option that we could possibly look at. But with the proximity to Mill Pond and the other, we're trying to line it up with one or the other.
Yeah, that's the only thing, I mean, it's a fairly straightforward site plan or sketch plan. It's just that it is slightly off-center, or, and then
Because
we got another parcel that's
the
adjacent
flag
to
lot,
it.
it
Yeah.
is right in line with it, or almost right in line with it, and perhaps before we build it, we may be able to do a shared driveway access with the adjacent parcel that would align a lot better.
Well, I guess it's in the buffer, but then you have an easement beside it, correct?
Listen,
Isn't that an easement right there?
That's a strip of land, so.
It's like a flag lot. It belongs to the parcel behind us.
Right, but I mean, it's be created like, treated like an easement to get to the adjacent, the property.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like 60 feet wide. So, like I said, there may be an opportunity to do a shared driveway. We haven't approached the adjacent parcel yet to
At least that
discuss
way it
that.
doesn't put it right on the property line.
So you haven't thought about 2 ingresses? Because I have business that has a parking lot that has one entrance, it's a nuisance getting into that thing. But that's just here and there.
Well, since it's a GDOT road, we would have to discuss it with GDOT to see how many curb cuts they would allow in that stretch, given the fire station across the street.
I
So,
see.
we have not had that discussion yet.
I see.
Is there any further additional comments? Call for a motion.
Motion to approve with staff recommendation.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mrs. Zipper. All those in favor of approval? Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, Ms. Sims.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Edwards. Finally,
Yes.
very diligent. What else? Is there anything else? After?
I could ask that.
You gonna ask it on the record after we go?
For the record, could you please tell me who made the motion to approve the agenda?
I did. I think I did.
What was the
Who approved the agenda?
Peter approved it and I seconded it.
I approved the agenda.
Peter approved the agenda.
What did I approve?
Nothing.
Sure, I approved something.
You did the minutes, maybe.
Yeah, I made notes when we did it. You
approved this
You
message.
approved the minutes.
You approved the minutes.
You approved the
I
minutes.
knew I
approved something. And Ryan seconded them.
Yeah, I approved the agenda.
Thank you, Alan. Anything else we can do for you?
No, thank you so much.
Meeting adjourned. I felt like the minutes were very abbreviated from a 4-hour meeting.
Do we need to turn in these keys since we're not having pre-meetings?
Well, if they would just be quiet and let us deny them, it would have been awesome, but we couldn't even get there.
You can keep them.
So can I get clarification on that? There are no more
I mean, we're
Meetings.
responsible for this, right?
Yeah.
If this goes lost, you're gonna charge us $25 or something?